Welcome to 3,600 Seconds with Industry Leaders, our dear viewers. Today, we are to be in the studio with Ambassador Grace B. Charrier from the United States, and she's joining us to discuss a critical issue affecting our communities, especially our Black communities. And this has to do with cancer awareness and advocacy. As a cancer survivor herself and an advocate, Ambassador Sharia brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to this conversation. So let's dive in and explore how we can work together to accelerate action in addressing the disproportionate impact of cancer on Black women in particular. You're welcome again, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am Grace. We are very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear
I
you.
don't know why patients cannot hear me, but for everyone here that is listening, thank you so much for having me talk about accelerating action against cancer. It's been a long time coming. We as women, we are known to do a lot. We are naturally caregivers. And I think fighting cancer is one of the things that if we join hands, we can succeed in trying to eliminate this crisis.
All right. Thank you so much, Grace. I think we can continue in her absence. She will just join when she gets the chance to do so. Please go on and thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
All right. So today we're going to talk about cancer awareness and advocacy. Yes. What can we say about cancer awareness?
Yes, as patients had mentioned, awareness is a very important way of trying to put the message across to everybody, not just women. Women give birth to men as well. So everybody, as regards cancer, you don't have to wait until when you have aches and pains to go seek, to keep on top of the game of taking care of yourself. That's part of self love. You don't wait until you fall down in the bathroom like I did. That's part of my story for another day. Because cancer does not, now we now know that it just creeps up on one. You don't have to be sick to have cancer. That's the thing. I didn't have any symptoms, you know. I just
Mhm.
fell in my bathroom, and after a series of tests, they now saw that, oh, there was something happening. This lady has breast cancer. I didn't know. So I believe I was very careless in that regard. That is why I keep shouting from the rooftops that do not wait until you fall down in the bathroom to go see the doctor. Try and have screenings done or the necessary tests done. For men, prostate cancer. For women, breast cancer. It's very important to get screened. So, as regards
Yeah.
advocacy, my experience brought me to that actually. Very, very vocal and very visible when it comes to advocacy and awareness, because people have to know, especially in Africa, where I'm originally from. Um, the talk about cancer is like taboo. So when I had this issue, I said to myself that I was going to make sure that people knew about this and shouldn't be scared to speak up if there was a problem or if they thought there was a problem. So advocacy is very important when it comes to cancer because catching it early, early detection is the difference between life and death.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. It is really alarming that you find yourself falling down in the bathroom, and I'm very sorry for that. And you label that as being careless.
Yes.
Eric, okay. Is careless maybe part of not having knowledge about cancer? Would you say that?
I still will consider myself very careless, and it's not being self-depreciating or anything. It's saying the truth because
Yeah.
in other climes, let's put it that way, they advocate for women to go once they reach a certain age. You know, I have a daughter, and I'm on top of her all the time to go for breast cancer screenings, to even a blood test is very important, you know, because having
Mm.
a blood test is you can detect multi cancers or you can detect that there is something wrong somewhere, you know. That is why I keep saying that there's nothing like advocacy, um, and especially when it comes to the grassroots. I'm very concerned about grassroots advocacy. You don't have to be in the city or you don't have to have digital technology to remind you um, to go, get a test or something. Even the media, even not really social media, because there are not many people in the grassroots that are social media um, experts or whatever. But even the television stations, the radio stations, they can come up with jingles. We have jingles for people to buy beer. So why can't we have jingles for people to men go and have a PSA test for prostate cancer, or women, go have you checked your breasts this month? You can put it out there in different dialects, in different African languages that these people will understand, because I tell you that I've seen so many crazy things in the grassroots areas, in those underserved communities where women or men were just left to rot. They only just depended
Mhm.
on, going to the church. Everything would be okay. But like I say, God helps those who help themselves. You can pray to God, but at the same time, if you see that there is something wrong somewhere, you know, please go get checked up.
Yeah. Indeed, Grace, that is so. So, in order to avoid incidents like the one that you found yourself in, what measures can we employ to ensure that we have knowledge and information about cancer so that we don't find ourselves in extreme situations like that?
Yes, I think we as women, we can come together because it's International Women's Month, right? And we're talking about women in this regard, even though we have lots of allies in men who are really supporting, these measures as regards cancer. Um, I'm very big on, you know, public policy and advocacy. And I say public policy because at the end of the day, who are the people that are going to bring about legislation to support cancer survivors, to support, early detection? I mean, you're trying to save your population from death. I think legislators have to play a very important role in this. You know, when it rains, it pours on everybody's roof, right? So if it affects you, it affects me. Um, So I do a lot of public policy work, speaking to lawmakers here in the United States about access to treatment, about increase in funding, about early detection and prevention tests. I mean, we only see that it's people that have money that can go to expensive cancer treatment centers to have chemotherapy or to have radiation or even to go for a checkup. It costs a lot in Africa. You know, a lot of people that um, um, uh, I'm not happy to say this, but I must say this. I have supported so many people just to go checked up, and then when they now come up with the news that we don't want to hear, that they have cancer, how are they going to pay for those treatments? So, um, advocacy is very, very important, and community engagement is very, very important as well. Women can come together, have workshops. Women can even volunteer in certain cancer um, centers and let people know that this is what is happening. Don't wait until, something bad happens. Early detection is key. You know, I still remember when my issue came up and I was talking about it. And I still have many people that said, Grace, why are you talking about it? You shouldn't be so open. You shouldn't. I say, listen, I have a daughter, I have nieces and nephews, this is the next generation. They have to be told that, there shouldn't be any stigma when it comes to cancer, especially with men. Men do not talk about their health, you know, until I have an uncle who passed away from prostate cancer. We only knew towards the end of his days. I mean, what's that? We could have helped him. We could have done something earlier to support him. So, advocacy is very important. Community engagement is very important. And we women, we are natural caregivers. And I don't think that this is very difficult for us. We're already doing a lot as women. We are already doing a lot. So, to me, this is, chicken change, as they would say. But we have to come together to see that we can further push the agenda, that no one has to die from cancer if only we can push for early detection and prevention.
Indeed. Talking about having daughters and nieces, most of the time when you talk about cancer, we tend to forget that young people also need to be informed about that. We focus more on women. How well informed are they, adolescents, our young girls, in terms of cancer prevention and detection? How well informed are they?
Here or in Africa?
In Africa,
Okay. So I have a lot to talk about that, and we can stay on this platform for days when it comes to um, letting children know about cancer. And I have been singing this from the rooftops that advocacy has to start in schools, because when you look at it now, a lot of children are seeing their parents go through cancer. A lot of children have become caregivers to their parents and grandparents. So they have already matured even before they have left school, because they're right there. They probably accompany their parents or grandparents to cancer treatment for cancer treatment. You know, they probably help them pick up their drugs. They probably, help them cook to eat. Even when you're undergoing cancer, you don't even have any appetite, but you must at least eat something to be able to have the strength to go for your next procedure. So, by what you are saying, the younger generation, especially school age, there's something I'm working on now. It's coincidental that you should mention this. There's something I'm working on now, trying to get um, principals of schools to key into this measure and letting children know that, aside from being caretakers to their parents or grandparents, they also, as they age, have to be on the lookout for certain things that could tell them or could signal that there is something not quite right. So they say catch them young. So that's the best time for them to really know that you're never too late, never too young to know about cancer, excuse me. Um, and school age is the best age. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Grace. Welcome back, patients. Okay, she seems to still have a problem. I thought by seeing her now, she's okay, but maybe the sound is delaying to reach her.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Even though you mentioned that you can talk about your story another day, but I'm interested somehow.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, just
goodness. It's been it's I'll try to shorten it as much as I can because anytime I talk about it, I have goosebumps.
yeah,
Um, I was actually in Nigeria to do a grassroots campaign on something completely different, and which was uterine fibroids, because I discovered that a lot of women were being diagnosed with uterine fibroids, but they were hiding it from their significant other. And you know what fibroids is like? Your, stomach starts getting bigger and bigger. You're bleeding incessantly and all that. And many women have passed away from uterine fibroids because of, excessive bleeding. So I got in touch with certain lawmakers in the National Assembly, and they were very supportive because many have had their wives being diagnosed, or sisters, or at least one person. Somebody knew one person that was suffering from uterine fibroids. So after the whole campaign, which was very successful, I went back, went back home to where I was, and in Abuja. And the following day, I went into the bathroom to have my shower because the media wanted to talk to me. So I was getting ready for that when I just fainted. I just fainted. I just fell on the floor in the bathroom. I almost lost this eye actually because I hit my head on the toilet seat, and I passed out. And so I was rushed to the hospital. When I got there, with my cousins and staff, um, they the doctors saw that my blood pressure had risen very high, 170 over 110, and they said, no, we're not going to release you. You have to stay in the hospital. We have to monitor your BP. This is not normal. But I said no, that I wanted to go back home. So I just thought that it was because I had been doing a lot of work, grassroots work. Maybe I was tired. My body was telling me something. Until I came back to the States, I had to speed up my visit and come back to the States when I saw my doctor. And when he saw me, he was shocked because I still had a blue black eye. Everything was, oh no, it was crazy. And I went for all the tests that are mandatory. You know, First of all, I had to have an echocardiogram for my heart because my BP was high. But then it didn't show that there was anything wrong with me. Yeah. So I was in the clear for that. I went for a colonoscopy. Of course, when you're over 45, you have to have a colonoscopy. I had that, came back in the clear. So all the usual stuff that you're made to go through um, to determine if there's anything right or wrong, I did until when I was leaving his office one day, and my doctor said, Madam Grace, when was the last time you had a mammogram? And I said, I've never had a mammogram. He said, I've never sent you for a mammogram. I said, no. And he was in shock, you know. So I went for the mammogram two, three times. It was inconclusive. And that was when we got scared that for the test to be inconclusive, there was something wrong somewhere. And it was when I had to have a biopsy that they now showed that I had cancer of the breast. So you can imagine my shock because I didn't have any pain. I didn't have the usual, as they say, textbook symptoms. You must have pain. You must have secretions. You must have, the usual thing that they teach doctors. Oh, if this happens, this is what it means. Had nothing to do with me. So that was how I started my cancer journey. So that's why anybody that, I had to, what should I say, write a book about it because I felt people had to hear this story and not to be caught off guard like I was.
Thank you so much, Chris. I would love to read that book.
Okay, thank you. It's on Amazon. It's called Impossicant.
All right,
Thank you.
I'll check it.
Okay.
I think most of us don't want to find ourselves in that
No
situation
way.
because you also highlighted that you had no symptoms at all.
None whatsoever.
Because, yeah, most of the time we'll say, no, you have to examine certain things, For example, with breast cancer, they'll say, examine your breast, things like that for the lump. But in your case, nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. That
Mm,
was the shocking part. That's what I couldn't understand. And even my doctors couldn't understand that. This was like, so that was what really brought about my my interest in advocacy and public policy. Because, okay, that is me. I had the option of, because I'm a citizen here, I had the option of coming back and, finding out what was wrong. But my sisters and brothers in Africa, um, access is important and is almost non-existent.
yeah.
Affordability is the same thing. It's almost non-existent. I mean, you have to carry a bag of money to be able to have a consultation. If for tomorrow you say, oh, okay, this person has been diagnosed and has to start chemo, where's the money? Except you are working in a blue chip company that guarantees you and you're covered by insurance. My God, you know, many people, my uncle I was telling you about, he was a very rich man, but when it comes to health, you're ready to sell all your properties, but at the end of the day, you die. So, because these measures have not been put in place, I think in Africa the priority has to be on early prevention, early detection, and even when you know, what should I say, that is not feasible. We really have to look at the healthcare infrastructure in Africa. We also have to look at um, the healthcare professionals, if they are really equipped as oncologists. We really have to look at, as you say, advocacy and healthcare together, not it working in silos together. You know, Healthcare professionals, they're doing things to the book, but advocates, you know, people like us that have gone through that experience can inform the healthcare professionals. This is what it is. This is what we lack. This is what needs to be done because we've been there, you know. Um, there are many things after that. You change after a cancer diagnosis. You cannot eat the same
Mm,
food. Um, there's so many things. You're sensitive. One of the times I love perfume, but now I can't even stand too much of perfume around me. It irritates me. Can you imagine? But before I would splurge on perfume because that's my weakness. But now I go for green, perfume that has relatively no smell. You know, these are the little things that affect you afterwards. So
Yeah.
yeah, these are the things that if we really want to try to stem cancer in Africa, I think our leaders have to ensure that this is, top on the list, because we talk about infectious diseases, like HIV. We talk about malaria and all that, but cancer is now the second leading disease globally, and it's rising. The cases are rising. So these are things that leaders and lawmakers have to try to put in place, to make sure that we can solve this problem. We're still waiting for there to be a cure for cancer, but until then, we have to be on top of our game and look out for ourselves and each other, you know.
Mm. Yeah. So here you are, you find yourself diagnosed with cancer. You are shocked, like you said. How did you come to terms with that? How did you come to accept the situation and say, I'm going to rise up and triumph through this? I'm not going to allow cancer to affect my life.
It was very difficult, I tell you. It was very, very difficult. I didn't come to terms with it for quite a while, to be honest with you. I mean, people see me, they're like, she bounced back, but it took a lot to claw myself out of that dark hole, And it's not just the physical aspect; it's here as well. You understand? And but at the end of the day, if you don't push yourself, nobody will push you. If you don't encourage yourself, nobody will encourage you. You know, people can only assist you if you want to assist yourself. You want to help yourself. You understand? Even your parents, even your children. You have to say, listen, I'm going to get up today and eat. Listen, today I'm going to make sure I take one step at a time. Um, so that was how I was able to rise. What is the title of our show today? Women Rise. Had to rise to say, listen, um, it's not all about me. It was during my cancer journey that I put together my talk show, like you're doing. It was during COVID that I started writing my book. I needed to put all that negative energy aside and see how I could help others understand where I was coming from and learn a few lessons that I put out there. And I must say that it's one of the best things I could have done with what happened to me with my experience, because people come to me and say, "Oh, Grace, you really, hammered it in. You really spoke the truth." Because in my book, I don't gloss over it. I tell you as it is. You understand? I had a mastectomy, and you know what that means. Having a breast removed, it takes a lot for somebody to stand out. That's why there's still that stigma. Many women have that done, but they will never come out to say, I had that done. But I said, I need to let people know that this is what is happening. I would rather have my breast removed than be in a coffin, right?
Yeah.
So but here I am today, thankful still to God for going through that. And that's why I say, heaven helps those that help themselves. If you are grateful for
Yeah.
everything that happened to you, then I think, you know, the universe, God can give you a second chance at life. And I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets at all.
Wow. Your resilience really commendable, Ambassador, I should say.
Thank you, dear.
The
Thank
strength.
you.
Yeah, the strength. So here you are, and then let's say you're back from the hospital and now you are home. What challenges do people face who live with you, people who take care of you, They also have limited knowledge about this, yet you are here and they have to be around you to give you that kind of, of support. How was it? And how can we encourage people who are caring for cancer patients at
Yes.
home, outside the hospital?
Yes. Caregiving it takes a lot. And that's why I say kudos to the caregivers. And that is why I encourage counseling for caregivers. Whether you're a family caregiver or you're a caregiver that has been, sent to the cancer patient from the hospital or the clinic or wherever, the patient was treated. Usually, when you're leaving, they ask if you are in need of someone coming to look after you, like maybe cook for you. You know, uh, in Africa, it's great because we're a community. Even if your next door neighbor is not related to you, they will still pop in and see, neighbor, how is everything? Have you eaten? They'll bring you food. They'll do this, do that. In our climes, it's very rare. It's not that people don't want to um, help you or be part of your caregiving trajectory, so to speak. But people are very mindful because you're just coming out of a life changing experience. And so everybody's trying to be mindful, be watchful, and all that. So for the caregivers, I say I really I really honor and respect them because it's not easy. Uh, the cancer patient is going through a lot, might sometimes be very difficult to take care of. Um, and the caregiver has to be as cool and calm as possible. To be honest, many have left that job because they weren't able to. It takes a lot, not just for a cancer patient, for anybody that's taking care of a patient. It can be
Yeah.
quite difficult. Like, for example, somebody that has had an accident and has to go through rehabilitation and start to walk again. You need a caregiver that will prop you up, that will help you take one step after the other and all that. It's difficult. Um, so what I would
Mm.
say is that for the cancer patient, um, it's not many people that have the patience of Job, let's put it that way, to take care, like in the Bible, to take care of you. So you have to be as cool and calm as possible. And for the caregiver, whether institutional caregiver or family caregiver, they should understand that this is what it is for the patient and try to understand their new normal. I call it the new normal because you're not normal anymore. You're not as you were before. You understand? So, yeah, that's what I would say. Patience is it. Patience is it.
Yeah. And love.
A lot of love. You have to have love to have patience. You have to
Hmm.
have love for
Hmm.
the person to have
Yeah.
patience. Mhm.
So, Ambassador, seeing that you are an advocate as well as the awareness consultant, what's the progress in your work? how do people receive what you're doing?
Oh, people love it. People love it. I mean, they really reach out. The feedback that I get is if this is the kind of reaction I get to my advocacy, then I have no regrets whatsoever. Um, I've been able to change a lot of lives just by speaking like this and by writing my book
Mm,
and having my talk show and going to the Capitol to talk to lawmakers about research funding increase, affordability, making sure that the underserved communities do not pay a dime to have, their treatments or to have, their screenings and stuff like that. And, the feedback that we get from our lawmakers that, yeah, we are with you, we are going to make sure, because even when you speak to them, many of them have lost their own one family member or the other through cancer. Today, you can be a cancer survivor. Tomorrow, you can be a caregiver, you know? You never can tell. Today, you can be a lawmaker. I mean, recently, there's a lady that we went to meet about 2 years ago. So she passed away from cancer, one of the lawmakers. She was a
mm,
senator. Many of them have been afflicted with cancer, so they know that this is good work we're doing. We're doing it for legacy, purposes, and that's why I say this is something that the global uh, um, Black community, African, leaders also should take into consideration that many are suffering, because there's no money to be able to take care of their problems, their cancer issues.
yeah. So, you're also a founder.
hmm
Are there other organizations or foundations that you collaborate with?
Oh, yes, I collaborate with the American Cancer Society, the Global Citizens Network, Immerman Angels. I collaborate with so many of them, so many, because I say that no man is an island. You understand? I can't
Yeah.
do this all alone. We can't do it all alone. So most of the time I'm reaching out to people or people are reaching out to me and we hold hands. I mean, um, you have to crack an egg to be able to make an omelet, right? So you break those silos and put, more than two, three hands together and say, let's work together and make sure we push this agenda through, because I know that if I'm not here today, tomorrow somebody else will benefit from my advocacy, right? So it's legacy. Um, I may not have been here, but for affordable healthcare, but for cancer treatment, but for mental, counseling and all that kind of thing. And for the opportunity to speak my mind. Because what is a barrier in Africa is stigma. Let's be honest. You don't want to tell the next
Mm,
person what is happening. You're suffering in your own room, but you're bleeding to death. You don't want to. But I can understand that because they will say, even if I go to the hospital now, do I have the money to
yeah.
treat myself? And even if I had the money to treat myself, my children have to go to school. No, I will use that money to treat myself, to pay my children's school fees. We'll wait for another day to be able to go to the hospital to take care of ourselves. That's what it is. You understand? So, um, yeah, that is it. I don't know what's wrong with patience today. The connection is
Honestly,
bad. Oh my God.
extremely bad today. I'm just trying hard not to shed some tear.
Oh,
Honestly,
please don't.
it's something else. Kept
Mm,
switching. between networks, changing Wi-Fi's, modems. I mean, I even had to try network, all proved abortive. But I just hope it's a bit better now.
Can hear you
Oh,
now. Can hear
Yes.
you.
okay, okay. At least that sounds quite reassuring. I can see the conversation really must have gone so far. I have missed a lot of the major flesh of this conversation, but I still want to know something, please, Ambassador Grace. What I'm really, really interested in knowing is the concrete actions that our audience listening to us right now can take to get involved in cancer awareness and advocacy efforts. Because I believe fighting against cancer is not something for one person. It's not only for the sufferers or for the survivors. If we can hold our hands, like you said, at least I heard that when I was coming back in online, and that if we can hold our hands, no one succeeds in isolation. So, what can be done, not just by our audience, by all of us, to get involved in this awareness or creating awareness about cancer and advocating too, or supporting advocacy efforts.
Yes, you're right. Just as you were coming in, I was telling my sister here about nobody. It's not good to work in silos. So concrete action would be to reach out. There's several, since it's Women's Month. We're talking about women here, but of course, you know that we have a lot of men who are our allies and who really
Yeah.
support us. So you have women's networks. Um, women can actually come together and create workshops. I'm not even talking about women in the city, or in the towns. I am more specific about women in the grassroots, in the underserved communities, because these are the women that believe that if they go to church alone, that they will be
Mm,
cured. And
mm,
at the end of the day, we know that that does not have a good outcome, especially if you're late stage. And so, advocacy, what is advocacy? Advocacy is empowering people to take the right decision. If you cannot force somebody to go to the hospital if they don't want to go, that's harassment. You understand?
mm.
They should be
Okay.
empowered to make those decisions. So you have to avail them with all the information about
Mm,
cancer, about how it starts, about what to do, about symptoms, what to look out for, where to go, you know, peer support groups. That's very important. Identifying peer support groups, people that are having the same experience, you know, people that like me who have lived it, who can come out and say, listen, I need to talk to 10 people here. You understand? 10
yes.
people bring 10 people. Let's create a village of awareness. Go back home and tell others that if you feel something, say something. If you note something, say something. That to me is concrete. Another thing that I would love to say is that I had mentioned to my sister here earlier is that not everybody is on social media. So the
Mm,
people in the grassroots areas, you know, they're used to listening to the radios, used to listening to watching the television. I know that Gen Z or the millennials, they hardly watch television. I watch television. My daughter doesn't watch television. She watches on her phone. She doesn't, put the television on because that's the signs of the times. You understand?
exactly.
You
Very
you
true.
know, but the older generation, our parents, our grandparents, they must have the radio to their ears. They must know
Mm,
that they're sitting in front of the television, crossing their legs and putting on the TV and listening to news. In between, you can have jingles to say, in different dialects. Patience, where are you now? You're in Port Harcourt, right? Where are you?
Tackles right now.
So you can say, ah, you not don't check your breast today, mommy, daddy, that kind of thing. You make it very relatable in pidgin English. You're into pidgin English as well, right? You make it
Yes, very good.
relatable. You make it relatable that you now don't check your breast today, daddy. You now don't go check your PSA. There's a way that you make it that would say, oh, okay, that's true. You understand? You go to a
Mm,
urologist, daddy goes to a urologist for his checks, mommy goes or grandma goes to, for breast cancer to at least, and then teach them how to check their breasts. Or if daddy sees that, he's urinating in a very bad way, you understand,
mm,
he can go to the doctor, because a lot of them sweep these things under the rug and think that, I won't tell anybody. I was talking earlier. I said my uncle had prostate cancer and didn't tell anybody until he passed. It's a stigma. So how do you
mm.
save somebody that doesn't want to be helped? That is it.
Because, wow.
So for me, that is concrete, letting the word out, not just social media. Um, Let it be like a civic duty for the radio houses or television houses once in a while. Let people come together and pay, for these jingles to be aired maybe weekends when everybody is home, to
Mm,
say, go and check for your, women check your breasts, men go check your, and then for the young girls, cervical cancer, HPV screening, um, encourage them to have vaccinations. Many people think that vaccinations are going to cause infertility. It's wrong. It's just going to um, support the young girls from having full blown cervical cancer, as they grow. So that to me is concrete. Yeah.
wow. Wow, that was quite exhaustive. Really exhaustive. I love the much insights you've put into this. And I must say
Oh.
I've learned something. I've learned something too. It's time to take action, not just to help others get to know these others at the grassroots level. Myself, of course, I have some actions to take on myself. We don't have to keep sweeping things under the carpet anymore. We don't have to wait for symptoms before we go for periodic checks. As
Mhm.
women, whether we are young or old, we have to do this because this illness is more like what we call slow poison in this part of the world. You know, we always call it slow poison, and indeed, that's what it is. It enters your body and slowly starts killing before you even know it has gone very fast. So we need to really accelerate action when it comes to this. We all have dreams, we all have aspirations, but how can we achieve them when a sickness as deadly as cancer is right before us to stand as a hindrance to our goals? Indeed, we want to thank you so much. We really need to thank you so much, Ambassador Sharia, for being with us. We really enjoy you. Yes, I know the internet really dealt with me today, but at least I know everything really enjoyable. And of course, I enjoyed it myself. What I've heard so far has spurred me to action, and I hope to do more even after this life. So, your passion and dedication to cancer advocacy are really inspiring. I wish we all can join me on this. So, our audience listening right now, we hope this conversation has also inspired you the way I'm inspired. And I believe Marcia Batatu is greatly inspired because she has been flowing with you in the course of this conversation more. So I just hope our audience will get inspired. They will also accelerate action, both the men and the women. Although this live is mainly for women, since this is Women's Month, but of course, we cannot leave our men behind. We are meant to coexist. So, everyone put in their efforts. And remember, every voice matters. Together, we can go very far. Yes, alone we may go fast, but moving fast might be moving fast towards our doom, a doom that we can avoid in the first place. So before we go, we need to take a moment to please follow Ambassador Charrier's work and advocacy efforts. She runs a monthly YouTube live program titled Cancer Converse with Grace B. You can search her on YouTube. You can even meet her right here on LinkedIn. She's on LinkedIn, of course. If not, we won't be on this live together. So you can how you can follow her and discuss more. Follow her monthly YouTube live. You will learn so much. All manner, all types of cancer. We have so many. You'll be alarmed. Different types beyond just the cervical and breast cancer almost everyone knows about, or the prostate cancer that seems to be most, let's say it is the most popular, right? But there are others. Even little children suffer from cancer too. So follow her program and be informed and be spurred to take further action. Please
Mhm.
share this conversation network. Okay. Sharing, they say, is caring. So please share it. You can use the hashtag Cancer Converse with Grace B, Cancer Awareness, Women's Month. But by all means, keep this conversation going. Together, we have to fight against this disease. I always call it a monster. It's a monster because it has taken a lot of people I love from me. So let's work towards, ensuring that together we kick it out of human existence. So, our dear viewers, we encourage you to join us next time on 3,600 Seconds with Industry Leaders for more thought provoking conversations and insights. Thank you again, Ambassador Charrier. We can't thank you enough. We really thank you for
Thank you
being
so
with us.
much. Thank
Okay.
you. It was
All
wonderful
right.
to be with
So,
you guys.
really wonderful. They say a melody
Mhm.
sweetness can end. We wish we can be with you for as long as forever, but we have to end now so that Let's
Yeah.
go out there and implement all what you've told us. We can start accelerating action. If this life doesn't end, we won't accelerate action. So we have to bring it to a close. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us, for viewing in. Like I said, if you have questions, please meet her. You can as well as meet Marcia Bata, or you can come, you can meet me. Whichever way, do not keep quiet. So thank you, everyone. And until next time, stay well, stay fit, and goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.